So, today's video is all about how you can hack your way to cooking quicker and better and not end up with your hand in a bowl of water and ice.
So Mike has just cooked for us a lovely chicken biryani as fast as you can, which was at a very reasonable pace.
Yeah.
50 minutes. 50 that is minutes. And now it's up to Ben to show us a few chefy hacks to speed things up.
The point is, that is delicious.
Oh yeah, right.
I just reckon I could do it in half the time. And here's how. Okay, straight off, one thing I want to make clear, I have a huge advantage. I wrote the recipe, I've already cooked biryani before, but I'm going to show you some things that I would do at home to speed up the process and shave time off. Number one, read the entire recipe from the start and group together tasks that can be overlapped. If you do everything in a very linear order, it's going to take this long, 50 minutes. However, if you can pull some of those forward that aren't time dependent, it's like a Gantt chart, I get a lot of stick for that, but that is how you can shorten time by reading ahead, planning ahead, and getting an idea of which order should come first. Preheat stuff. So I know we're gonna need to boil rice, so I'll put a kettle on. That's gonna heat up quicker. I know we're gonna need to fry, so we can get a pan on. And later on, I know that we're gonna need to use the oven, so I'll preheat that to 180 degrees Celsius. Also pick your pans wisely. A small amount of rice, a small pan. Now for the board. Now this is your safe zone, but keep it clean, keep it tidy, and for that reason, have something for waste in front of you. I'm gonna chop up an onion, because that's the first thing that needs doing. When Mike was prepping, he did all of his knife work first. I know the onions need a head start, so I might as well start to cook those while I do the ginger and the garlic. A little bit of oil, and I've chosen a big pan with a large surface area, and I'm gonna cook it with a lid on top. All things that will speed up the cooking process. Next up, I'm gonna do the ginger. Now, if you're not particularly comfortable with a knife and it's never a race, you could grate things like ginger and garlic. It might save you some time. It depends on how competent you are with a knife. The important thing is safety first. It doesn't matter how quick you're cooking, if you take the end of your finger off or you burn yourself. It's no good. One thing I noticed was Mike was waiting for his rice to come to boil for ages. When it finally did, he was distracted for another couple of minutes doing something else. My kettle's good to go. My pan's good to go. It means I can start to parboil the rice. That'll need about 6 minutes in salted water. However, efficiency is key, so while I've got boiling water in my hand, now's a good time to make stock. Do it all together and consolidate the actions and you save a lot of time. Kettle's already in my hand, I might as well make 100 ml of stock. Top tip, I know this is the 250 ml bottle. I know this is a 500 ml bottle. I know this is a 75 ml glass dish. It saves me having to weigh out when it doesn't have to be precise. That's about 100 ml. Season the water. And we're gonna soak the rice. If you're doing this at home, this would just be under running water. In fact, for today, just enough for that water to go a little cloudy. If you had all the time in the world, you'd give that longer. For speedy cooking, we're gonna get some of the way, but save a lot of time. The rice can go in. You can see the whole layer of onions is having a chance to cook because of the large surface area. And we'll keep the steam in to make it super quick. Top tip, if I was preparing this in a restaurant and wanted it absolutely 100% every time, I would cook these onions longer and slower so they become sticky and jammy. What I'm doing here is cheating it for the sake of speed with a higher heat, but I am going to add a pinch of sugar, and that will naturally just caramelise the onions a bit quicker. Next up, garlic and ginger going into the pan. The board is clear, and that gives me time to prep the mushrooms, another job that can happen whilst this is cooking off. If at any point I find myself at a loose end, I want to give that garlic and ginger another minute or so. I'm always thinking, what else can I do? Clear as you go. I've got hot soapy water ready. That's washed up. That's washed up and draining. As is that. If you're at home, you probably wouldn't even be using the bowls in the first place. Mushrooms can go in. Another top tip, ideally you'd want to be frying those mushrooms, but if you do want to shave off a few seconds, you've probably still got a bit of water left in your kettle. A little splash of hot water into a hot pan will just quicken the cook. You get instant steam as well as the hot pan. Next for all the flavours, and this is kind of where sorted recipes already have the built-in cheats. I'm using curry powder, super simple, a sprinkling of that. Tomato puree, sultanas, you've got the spice, you've got the sweetness, and all of the spinach, that will wilt down as well. Don't be afraid of reusing the same utensils. That spoon had a little bit of tomato puree in it, but rather than wash it up and go for another spoon and double your washing up, it's fine. And here's a great example, because we were able to plan ahead, the hot rice can go straight into the hot pan, everything's cooked. Our stock is already made, that can go in as well. Our oven is already preheated. One mix, and this can go into the oven for about 15 minutes. Now the best bit of advice is making sure you read ahead on a recipe, and because I did, or I knew it, I know that I've now got 15 minutes when I can concentrate on chicken, whereas Mike started with the chicken and then found himself waiting on other things. I've got a hot hob, I'm going to place on a hot pan. Now, I love the idea of cooking on cast iron. It does give a better flavour. This will take 3 times as long to heat up as that. Your choice, but if you're saving time, another pan will be quicker. To speed up the cooking of the chicken, Mike was spot on. He bashed this out to increase the surface area. I'm going to do the same thing, except I'm going to use a knife to butterfly it. That way, I don't dirty a rolling pin. And what you've done is opened it out so that it cooks much quicker because of the surface area. Chickeny hands, always keep an eye on those. I'm going to spread some curry powder onto my chicken, oil it, and get it into the pan. This will only need 3 or 4 minutes on either side, as opposed to much longer if it was left as a full breast. In this time, I'm going to wash up, especially as we've got raw chicken on the board. For the raita, it's very simple. A bowl of yogurt and some finely diced cucumber. Again, like the ginger and garlic, actually, it's important to know when you can cheat. This doesn't have to be finely diced. To grate it into here will make no difference to the end result. Well, not a difference that will matter. One thing we're hugely guilty of when cooking for camera is transferring things into clean bowls to keep it looking tidy. At home, use whatever bowl you've got. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to chop up some mint, squeeze in some lemon, a pinch of cumin, and season to taste. A little bit of fresh coriander to garnish. The raita is ready. I'm waiting a couple more minutes on the chicken, a couple more minutes on the rice in the oven. Everything I've used has already been washed up, is draining naturally on the board. That gives you time to lay a table, pour yourself a drink, or check Twitter. Last thing I'm going to do is just strip up this chicken into slices to put on top of the biryani. By butterflying the chicken, one chicken breast goes a long way. By slicing up nice and small, it appears to go even further. Clean pans while they're really hot, and they pretty much clean themselves. Fluff up the rice, a squeeze of lemon juice, pile the chicken in the middle, fresh coriander, and a dollop of our raita with plenty more on the side. And there we go, a few simple tips. We've cleaned as we go, there is no washing up, and we've done it in half the time. It's not a race, do it at your pace, but if you adopt some of those methods, you can shave minutes off your cooking too. Mike, this shouldn't taste any different to yours, but...
You say that.
Oh, it's all the same ingredients. It's just a bit quicker.
Just a bit quicker.
If you cheat.
Wow.
Just 50% quicker.
So it's not a race, but
This was.
a few,
And I lost.
a few little things make all the difference.
This is right up my street, right up my street.
Just remember the old fable about the tortoise and the hare. There's still time.
Thank you very much, mate. Speaking of speedy stuff, can we make an omelette quickly? Yes, of course we can. But can we make an amazing gourmet omelette quickly? Well, tune in tomorrow. Tune in, sounds like telly, but watch tomorrow, you'll get the gist.
Click on the left if you missed our last video, or click on the right video for one of our favourites.